What's going on, guys? Something I've been thinking about a lot is how we've let I think that the right has lost the culture war altogether. And you can see this with all the trans stuff, all the 45 different genders, all that weird stuff happening right now with today's current society. And something I've always questioned is why on earth is progress always defined by the left? Like, why is everything that they do, quote unquote, progressive, and why is everything that the right does, quote unquote, backwards? Like, how have we reached this dichotomy where like if the right says you have to do the X, that's considered to be backward thinking, and when the left says, oh, if you let people just do whatever they want, have 45 different genders, have cut your cock off, become a man or a woman, I want to call it, then you're being progressive at that point. Why is that considered to be progress? And why is the other thing of like going back to a more traditionalist system considered to be regressive? Is it because one occurred in the past, in the 50s and 60s, and then we're looking at that and saying, well, that's the past, so our future has to be something that's not that? Well, why is that the case? Like, why do you have to do the exact opposite of what your opponent does? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're right or correct or better. And just because something is moving forward doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to something that is quote unquote better anyway. It's just something that I've always thought about, and it's like, why on earth have we let the left define what progress is, and why does progress always tend to benefit tend to benefit not so much benefit, but why does progress always end up being defined as these like really really odd policies like cutting your cock off once again, or being a transgender with 45 different genders. Like, on the face of it, I don't really have a problem with these policies per se. Like, I don't care if a man wants to get surgery or something like that, or be a trans person, is what I'm gonna call it. Not really. But I have to look at like what this kind of content, what this type of thinking does to greater overall society as well. Because ultimately, like, you don't exist in a vacuum. You exist in a society that has norms and expectations and all this stuff like that. You're supposed to follow. And when you change the way, like, oh, at the end of the day, when you change people, you change society. So if everybody's now accepting of gay marriage, like, that was a quick turnaround. Like, from Obama's first term to the end of his term, gay marriage went from being extremely unpopular to being extremely popular. Like, that happened in a matter of years. So, and it's happening now with the trans stuff as well. So, like, well, why have we let the left run away with the argument when it comes to what's considered to be progress and what's considered not to be progress? And why on earth are these policies considered to be progressive when they lead to such negative effects on society at large? Like, I think that the incel crisis is somewhat tied to these leftist policies when it comes to stuff like like the female empowerment is this extremely not leftist idea, but maybe a progressive idea. It's an extremely progressive idea. Um, Trans rights is a very progressive idea. Gay rights are a very progressive idea. These are all progressive ideas. Like, these are all ideas that people, especially the female empowerment thing. Like, obviously people benefit from these policies to some extent. Like, I think I covered in my last stream how single women tend to vote more democratically, or tend to vote tend to vote Democrat, and as they have children, then they tend to become more conservative. So if anything, the Democratic Party has an incentive to actually keep women single as long as they can in order to actually benefit from that voting block. They actually love female empowerment because it gives them a voting block that's like very 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 reliable and gets them votes. Same thing for soy boys. Soy boys, the people who co-sign this type of behavior of the transgender rights, the gay rights, all this weird social policies and very progressive social policy, quote unquote, progressive in big air quotes there. Um, they all co-sign this type of behavior, co-sign this type of policies, and they benefit from this stuff. They don't really benefit from it per se, but like, they think that if they follow the women and they do what the women say, they'll end up, they'll be like their women's favorite and they'll get pussy. At the end of the day, they think that by being a simp and by just being a good little boy, they'll get a benefit from it later on. When at the end of the day, they know that they don't know. They're so stupid. They think that the women are actually gonna like them when in reality they're just being a simp and letting women walk all over them. So that's kind of the video there. This is something I've always thought about, and I want to know what you guys think about it. Really, truly, like, do you think that it's appropriate that that just because something happened in the past, that it's considered to be backwards, and something that happens now considered to be progress? Like, how do we define progress? Like, shouldn't progress? I guess progress doesn't really necessarily doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. It just means that it's moving forward. But there is like some like it definitely seems like progressives think that, oh well, because society has moved forward, that is somehow better. But that doesn't necessarily follow from that. Like, just because something has moved forward and we've changed society doesn't mean that it's better off overall. Especially when you look at at the overall side effects of these policies, that they've affected men greatly. Men are dropping out of society. Men are not getting married. Men are just saying fuck it and doing their own thing now. They aren't working nearly as hard. They aren't getting college degrees anymore. They aren't they're dropping out of society. They're dropping out of the workforce. All these different problems that women are complaining about. Not enough men of marriageable quality, or quality there. Like, they're complaining about all these different things. And it's like, okay, well, if all your policies lead to these bad outcomes, was it worth us? Was it worth us walking down the trail of your quote unquote progress? Like, was it worth it for us to actually become more quote unquote progressive? If your policies suck and they lead to bad outcomes, why would we do them? Other than the fact of ignorance, maybe we just didn't know that these policies things would lead to this. So I don't know, but you guys can discuss in the comment section. Once again, this is Mystery School. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. And once again, don't forget, guys, that wisdom is gold. See you guys next time.